Today's aim is that students will be able to evaluate expressions. Evaluate means to simplify an expression. An expression is just a mathematical statement that includes numbers, operations, and variables. So here are some key points. The steps to evaluating an expression. Step 1, substitute or plug in the number for the variable using parentheses. Step 2, use the order of operations, PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide together, and add and subtract. When you multiply and divide, you go from left to right. So you might actually divide before you multiply, whatever happens from left to right. Same with addition and subtraction. You go from left to right, whichever happens first. So let's look at some examples. Example number 1, it says h plus j times j minus h, use h equals 2 and j equals 6. First thing I'm going to do is take out each letter and plug in the number that corresponds to it. So instead of h, I'm going to write 2, and I'm going to write it in parentheses. 2 plus, and instead of j, I'm going to write 6 in parentheses. And then I'm going to have my parentheses here. And again, I'm going to have j, 6, put it in another parentheses, minus my h is 2, close the big parentheses. And now I'm going to use my order of operations, my PEMDAS. And I'm going to make sure that I write the multiplication and division next to each other and the addition and subtraction. First thing I do is parentheses. So I'm not going to look at my small parentheses because there's nothing inside there to do. It's just a 2, this is just a 6. But here I see inside my big parentheses some operation I need to do, which is subtraction. So I'm going to rewrite my 2 plus 6. And then inside these parentheses now I have 6 minus 2, so that's 4. And I'm done with parentheses. I don't have any exponents, so I'm done with that. Next I do multiplication and division. Here I have an invisible multiplication. When you have 2 parentheses, there's an invisible multiplication. So I bring down my 2 plus 6 times 4, which is 24. Don't have any division. Now I'm ready for addition and subtraction. Here's addition. 2 plus 24 is 26. And I'm going to circle my final answer. Let's look at example number 2. mn, or m times m, divided by 6 plus 10. Use m equals 7 and n equals 6. First thing I do is substitute. I plug in using parentheses. I take out the m and I'm going to put in 7 in parentheses. I take out the n and I put in 6 in parentheses. Then I have divided by 6 plus 10. Now I'm ready to use my order of operations. First is parentheses. Well, there's nothing to do inside each of these parentheses, so I'm done with that. I don't have any exponents. I'm ready to multiply and divide. Well, here's an invisible multiplication. 7 times 6. 7 times 6 I know is 42. Divided by 6, I rewrite this plus 10. So I am done with multiplication. Now I'm ready to divide. I'm going from left to right. So 42 divided by 6 gives me 7 plus 10. And now I have addition. 7 plus 10 gives me 17. And I'm going to circle my final answer. Let's look at another example. J times h minus 9 cubed plus 2. Use h equals 9 and j equals 8. Here we go. J is 8, so I'm going to take out the j, put in the 8 in parentheses. Always plug in parentheses. Now I have h, so I'm going to plug into small parentheses. 9 minus 9, close parentheses, cubed plus 2. The reason I made these parentheses bigger is so that I could fit the little parentheses in there. So now I'm ready to use my order of operations. So first is parentheses. Well, here's my parentheses. So inside there I have 9 minus 9. So I'm going to rewrite everything else just like it is. 8, 9 minus 9, well that's just 0, cubed plus 2. Now I have an exponent here. So this is the same as 0 times 0 times 0. So write that out. 0 times 0 times 0 plus 2. Now, of course, 0 times 0 times 0 is just 0. So now I'm going to rewrite it. 8 times 0 plus 2. Now I'm done with exponents. Now I do multiplication division from left to right. 8 invisible multiplication times 0 gives me 0 plus 2. Now I add 0 plus 2 is 2. Last example. 6 plus q plus 5 minus q minus p plus 15. Looks complicated, not hard at all. All I do is plug in each of my numbers, p equals 1 and q equals 1. So here we go. 6 plus, take out the q, plug in 1 in parentheses, plus 5 minus q is 1 minus p, take out the p, plug in 1, close parentheses, plus 15. Now I'm ready to use my PEMDAS. I'll write it over here. My order of operations. There we go. Parentheses. Well, here's my parentheses right here. I'm going to do that first. 1 minus 1. So I'm going to rewrite this 6 plus 1 plus 5 minus 1 minus 1. Well, 1 minus 1 is just 0 plus 15. And the parentheses went away because I went ahead and did it. Parentheses are done. Now we move on to exponents. No exponents. Multiplication. No multiplication or division. Now I'm ready to add and subtract from left to right. So I start on the left and work my way to the right. 6 plus 1 is 7, plus 5 minus 0 plus 15. Step by step. 7 plus 5 is 12 minus 0 plus 15. 12 minus 0 is 12 plus 15. 12 plus 15 gives me 27. Now it's time for you to practice.